Hey, how's it going? So I've gotten some comments and some messages in the past asking where can I get a symmetrical deck, and it got me thinking that yeah, there really isn't that many out there, or if there is, and I have no clue that they exist. So today's video is going to be my top 5 decks that I've tried that are symmetrical decks. Could work on that title a little bit. We'll just call it the top 5 symmetrical decks. So before we do start the actual list, I do want to make an exception because the thing is, my favorite symmetrical decks are actually going to be my sponsor. Faymus decks, Sayvur decks. There is the new Evil Twin, which if you've been watching me fingerboard over the last, I think, month or so, I have been using this deck very, very heavily, which I think, I don't know, I'm torn because this is another symmetrical deck that Faymus does offer, and it's the S&T. This one's going to be a square nose and tail. This one is a popsicle, but with the S&T, you can get it in the Epic, which is what this one is, the Magic, Legend, Sublime, Diamond, you know, all his molds, all his sizes. The S&Ts actually run a little bit wider than the regular decks. These are my favorite. However, I don't think a top 5 list would be very fair or very fun if like the number 1 spot always goes to my sponsor, especially considering number 1 and 2, the Evil Twin and the S&T would have taken 1 and 2, so it would have just been like, yeah, my sponsor and 3 other people. I don't think that would have made a really good video. So these are my favorite. So this is like the 3rd time we're changing the title. John's top 5 symmetrical decks that are not his sponsor. It's a long title, but yeah, let's check it out. So in my hand, there are the top 5 symmetrical fingerboards that I've tried that are not my sponsor, because once again, not very fair, not very fun, because they would take up 1 and 2. I already explained this to y'all. So number 5 is going to be the Truckloops Twin Tail. This is going to be the lower mold that he does have. I know that he makes a twin nose, which is going to be like higher kicks. I'm not too sure what the concave is on the other ones, but this one is going to be sort of like a mid to low concave, 96 millimeters long. The one that I have is 34 millimeters wide. I don't think I'm going to get too much into the actual like setups. I did talk about them in the setup videos. But yeah, 96 millimeters long, 34 millimeters wide. These ones, I know that there's the popsicle shapes and some boxy shapes. If you want something more squared, he does offer that as well. The Instagram is going to be Truckloops, and I'll have the Instagram down in the description. Same with all these. I won't bring that up again. So number 5, Truckloops. Number 4 is going to be Made by Me, or I think on his Instagram now it's Made by Us. It's made by Kramer, basically. Made by Kramer, Marcus Kramer. These boards are going to have mellow kicks with a deeper concave, so it's going to have a very interesting feel to it. These ones I think are 96 millimeters long as well, and then the one I have is 34. These plies look really, really nice. I know that I checked it this morning when I was planning on making this video. The website is under construction, so I'm not too sure when he's going to have another drop, but if you want to try a symmetrical shape with a deep concave, it's like, I would say it's pretty deep. It's a pretty deep concave. Mellow kicks, deep concave, symmetrical, made by me, made by us, the Kramer decks. And number 3 is going to a company that I've known for a while, but I've never tried their boards until like kind of recently, the last few months. This is going to be Harderwood. These boards are going to be 97 millimeters long. The one I have is 34 millimeters wide. He does have other sizes, different molds. Well, there's 2 different molds. There's the classic and then the Romero, which is going to be low kick, low concave mold. And I think it was the same size as well. The classic is going to have a medium kick, medium concave. And this is, I think, one of the first symmetrical boards that almost took no time for me to get used to. I remember liking this one right out of the box, or like right when I had set it up. I was like, oh, there's something about this board. This one feels nice. I really like this board. It was really fun. They're really nice boards to use. Up next is going to be a board that I've had set up for a very long time, and also the first symmetrical board that I've ever tried, at least that I know that I've tried. I had gotten some boards from 6 Gates. Before I get into it, Moods is going to be the number 2 spot. I had picked up some of the boards from 6 Gates because, like, oh, that's an interesting graphic. He has like some really cool graphics, so I picked a couple of them up. I saw that the 2020 mold was a symmetrical shape, and then the 2021 is going to have a wider nose tapered tail, you know, like a regular skateboard. These boards, they come in at 96 millimeters long. The one that I have is 34 millimeters wide. And like I said earlier, he does have 2 molds. There's the 2020, 2021, and each one of those has a popsicle shape and then like a different shape. One's a cruiser, one's called a cruiser, and the other one I think is called like the McFly or something like that. But the 2020 mold is like really nice. It has a high kick with a, I would say like medium low concave, but with the board's length and the way that the kicks feel, I think they feel really nice. I just realized I didn't do any fingerboarding with them. At the end of the video I'll do some fingerboarding with all of them. But for the number 1 spot when it comes to symmetrical decks, and this one, I really liked it when I first tried it. The first time I tried it, it wasn't even symmetrical, but it's going to be the Goo Higher Die Symmetrical. He does have a, but if you know Goo, he has a ton of different shapes, ton of different sizes, ton of different molds. Not even a ton, I think it's like 3 molds, but like the shapes is where it's at with Goo. This one right here is going to be his Goothrax Higher Die Symmetrical, and these boards, they're going to be 96 millimeters long, come in a whole bunch of different sizes. I don't know if the Higher Die actually comes in a bunch of different shapes. I know that there's the Goothrax and the squared Goothrax, and then there's Popsicle and squared Popsicle that come in the Higher Die Symmetrical shape, and then he has like a whole ton of other shapes. I'll have that shape guide pop up because, yeah, there's a lot that goes in when you want to get a deck from Goo. That is the number 1 when it comes to symmetrical decks that are not my sponsor. So real quick before we go, I'm going to do probably my favorite trick. I would say it's my favorite trick, at least on every I'm drawing a blank, every setup. And that's why you're number 5. No, that doesn't count. There we go. So this was my top 5 list when it comes to symmetrical decks that are not my sponsor, because once again, how fun would it be if my sponsor just took number 1, number 2, every list? But I mean, they are number 1 and number 2 as far as this list goes. So yeah, and the top 7 just sounds weird. I don't think anyone does a top 7. Look, when it comes to symmetrical decks, I'm always gonna say go check out the Faymus decks, go check out the Sayvur decks, but hey, if that's not what you want to do, that's what this list is for. Go check any of these companies out. Those boards, they feel good too, I guess. Just kidding. They feel amazing to use. It's all preference. Again, I would say go get the Faymus. But any of these boards, of course, they'll treat you right. They're good, solid boards. Their Instagrams, websites will be down in the description below. A lot of these I think are actually made to order, except the Kramer one. The Kramer one, the website's down right now. I'm not too sure when that's going to go live again. But, I mean, to know, you'll have to give them a follow. So that'll do it for this top 5 list that are not my sponsor. If there's another list that you want to get my list, I don't know. Look, I have a lot of setups. I have a bunch of boards. I've tried out a whole bunch of stuff. So if you want to see me rank stuff, just let me know. Put it down in the comments below. I'll eventually get around to it. That'll do it for now. My Instagram will be down in the description below. Take it easy. Have a good one.